Here we go. I just resent it.
Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again.
With anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a group of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling events of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all you nerds out there. So grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other. Brought to you, of course, by AniMa W3 Studio. This is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Happy Monday to everyone out there. Hopefully your weeks started off relatively well and all that. I know we had a pretty good Monday Night Raw tonight. You know, a couple things were kind of off, maybe not too good, but a lot of good things that we can kind of dive into a little bit here. So to all of our returning listeners and viewers, welcome as always. Be sure to grab your chair and get to your assigned seat soon, because we might be changing things up a little bit when it comes to your assigned seating. But if you're new around these parts, welcome as well. You'll find your assigned seat over in the foyer down below. But hey, you're here to listen to us talk about wrestling. And who are we exactly besides being known as the Weebs of the Ring? Well, first and foremost, I am your reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Watkins here. I am perpetually tired. I am just at my wit's end when it comes to work. But hey, we're here to talk about wrestling. We're here to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff that comes with the WWE product and all that, especially in the year 2025. But I'm going to be your guide tonight to get us through the event. And of course, as always, I am joined by the genius of the mat himself. He's going to help us process these stories going on. Drop this box. Drop, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, and I would have to agree with you. There was a couple good things on this show, so it's a little bit different from last week's coverage on Monday Night Raw, because we didn't really have much to really say about that show outside of like a couple things. And when I say that, I mean like a couple things where you could probably do this sign with your fingers. That's pretty much all we could really say about this show. But there was things on here that's like worth talking about. There's things on here that's worth questioning about, because some people might favor this thing over others, which is perfectly fine, because when we get on a platform like YouTube or any other source of social media, we all voice our opinions and how we feel about certain things. So if we talk about certain things within the show itself that you guys might feel different about, that's completely okay. We're not forcing you to feel a certain way about something just because we do. And it's also good to have a different flow of conversation going, because if you're just agreeing on everything, I mean, doesn't really seem like there's any sort of like engaging conversation there. So I am looking forward to talking about a couple things on this show tonight, because yeah, there definitely is a few things to say for sure.
Oh, that there is. And yeah, just as Job said, you know, we welcome all opinions around here, good, bad, maybe questioning some logic, you know, fine, whatever. Hey, an opinion is fine. It just gets us talking. That's all we want out of everything. And if you want more of a discussion like that, go check out Grappling with the Week 30, where we talked about criticism in wrestling, how we talk about how we engage with it anymore nowadays. So check that out for a good, pretty positive talk on the subject at hand. But we're not here to talk about just regular old plain criticism. We're here to talk about the WWE Monday Night Raw brand of criticism. I'm just going to start out, because you might kind of hear it in my voice a little bit, or I guess maybe my demeanor. It was kind of hard for me to engage with the show tonight. Like, and that don't take that too wrong, because there was good stuff on the show, but just like throughout the show, I felt myself just disengaged with the whole thing. So I don't know if that's just the nature of WWE right now, but hey, we'll still talk about the show, because objectively it was a good show, and it was sandwiched by a lot of Bloodline drama, which is crazy to say nowadays, because you know the Bloodline isn't really a faction anymore, but they do still have their strings going around everywhere. I mean, from starting the night with Roman he didn't really call out anybody. He was just interrupted by Bronson Reed. We get a match confirmed for the two at Crown Jewel in an Australian street fight. So, hey, at least that's confirmed. But we had a lot of stuff going on with like Jimmy and Jay. Jay not really wanting to take Roman's advice, but also Roman trying to like muscle Jimmy out of Jay's way, trying to have him focus on everything besides like tag team action and all that. And I mean, it leads to a lot of this kind of just snowballs throughout the night because we had this big old promo from CM Punk, LA Knight, Jay interfering in that, setting up a tag team match later on in the night, which was our main event with the Usos taking on LA Knight and CM Punk. So a lot of things. We got 3 different parts to kind of break down from all this. So, Job, I'm going to start with you. I think this will be the easiest one to kind of talk about. What did you think of the opening here, where it's just like Roman against Bronson Reed on the mic again? More so Paul Heyman, but ultimately this just kind of leads to the announcement of the street fight match. So how do you feel about the match itself being a thing and just this overall segment that started us off?
So, I mean, honestly, like the way that I feel about the match so far, all I'm really going to say is if this match is happening again like it is, I mean, you got to have Bronson Reed go over in this match because I get it. He's Roman Reigns. He has a certain status in the company. I get that. You can say that about a lot of people on the roster, but you can't have Bronson Reed losing to Roman Reigns twice because last time we talked about them when they had their match with one another, you had Roman Reigns win, and then he ended up getting, beat up afterwards. He ended up getting carried out on a stretcher, which was a main theme throughout that promo segment itself. He kept mentioning stretcher quite a bit throughout that. I mean, we get the whole idea behind it that you took out Roman Reigns, even though that is kind of convoluted because he has been taken out on a stretcher before in the past. I've seen a lot of other people mention it online as well when it came to...
Hi, Braun Strowman.
Yeah. So it's like that is convoluted there, but I guess that's non-existent now in this universe. But that's besides the point, though. So all I'm going to really say about the match itself is you got to have Bronson Reed win. Don't do one of those typical things where it's like, okay, it's in Australia. You have the hometown guy there. Roman Reigns ends up winning again, and then we just move on afterwards. I mean, this is also like a very telling thing, and we'll obviously dive more in depth with that in our next segment when it comes to the current status of the Vision. And I'll say this about Bronson Reed. If you really want Bronson Reed to be treated as a serious competitor, you want him to be a tag champion one day, a mid-card champion going after the Intercontinental Championship, or maybe potentially down the line becoming a world heavyweight champion, the whole idea behind the Vision, and like I stated, we'll dive a lot more into that into our next segment. You got to make this guy matter. You got to make him feel special in any sort of way. You can't have him eat pins. You can't have him lose one match and then lose the next. Like, he has to actually matter. And when you look at the guy, he looks like a force to be reckoned with when it comes to, I don't really want to mess with this guy. So please treat him seriously, because I look at Bronson Reed and I can see a lot of potential with him. It just depends if they take the ball and go with it. So those are my thoughts on the match itself. Just please let the man win if that is indeed the plan. We'll obviously dive more in depth with that with our predictions for Crown Jewel with Grappling of the Week this Thursday. And when it comes to like the promo segment itself, I mean, I honestly think it was like a pretty basic promo. Like, all I can say is, like, compared to how Roman was years ago, I'm glad that Roman is more comfortable on the mic. He's able to say what he wants to get things off his chest, because he doesn't really struggle as much as he used to back then. So I do like seeing Roman with a microphone, because he does, I mean, he pretty much says things straight to the point, which is a good thing, especially if you want to take this feud seriously. And since he was also under Paul Heyman before, he kind of knows how the whole game works when it comes to the whispers in the ears, saying, hey, you shouldn't go down there, all this sort of thing. So it's like pretty basic promo to me, to be honest.
Yeah, and even what happens afterwards with the whole beatdown segment and all this, it's like, all right, we've seen this before. I was actually a little behind on Raw. I actually ended up kind of skipping the beatdown because I'm like, all right, nothing important is gonna get here. And I got to like the ending part of it. I'm just like, okay, cool, yeah, there it is. There's your Superman punch. There's everybody being happy that Roman's on top. Yeah, no, even I am expecting Braun Breaker to interfere in this match and pretty much be the deciding factor, which I mean, fine. That just means, hey, on paper, Bronson Reed beat Roman Reigns. That's all I care about at the end of the day. You know, whether it's because that's the thing that's within the rules. You know, oh no, somebody interfered in my match and beat you up. Well, darn, what a shame. I guess I shouldn't win this match anymore. No, that's for the rules. That's the rules of a street fight, and especially an Australian street fight. I'm sorry, I'm gonna need to see some didgeridoos being used. I need to see freaking Kangaroo Jack come by and like give some sort of uppercut to Roman or Bronson Reed. I don't know. This just can't just be a normal street fight. Just give us the stuff from like the Donnybrook stuff and all that. Like, make it fun. You know, have fun with it. It's a stipulation match that you're literally calling an Australian street fight, which I thought they were going to do a stretcher match with how many times they were freaking saying stretcher. Yeah. Like I thought they were doing that thing that WWE likes to do, is just like that subliminal messaging kind of thing where it's like, oh, see, I just think of that scene from not South Park, from Family Guy, where they're like showing this scene from Lassie, and then it cuts to this guy just saying, "Smoke, smoke. Are you smoking yet? Stretcher, stretcher." Stretcher match. Don't you want to be put in a stretcher? You've never been put in a stretcher before. We're gonna just, you know, just delete Braun Strowman from all of existence and all that. All right, fine, that didn't happen. Cool, neat, awesome. Yeah, basic start to the night and all that, but I'm glad we had this through line with the Bloodline, because it was at least one of the more engaging parts of the night, at least for me. So like later on, after all that, we have this little backstage segment with Roman meeting up with Jay and Jimmy. And Roman kind of hypes up Jay a little bit more, trying to give him some advice, being like, hey, you know what? Just stop worrying about all these other people. Worry about yourself. And he kind of questions to Jimmy here, hey, I see and hear all this. Why is he barely even taking my advice now? So we're starting to plant the seeds a little bit more of like Jay kind of doing his own thing. Maybe Roman, like, maybe this will finally be that character growth I've been waiting for when it comes to Roman Reigns. Because again, when he came back, he was the same person, but you know, everybody's cheering him because, you know, now he's cool and all that. Fine, cool, whatever. But this ends up snowballing to this CM Punk segment, because Roman decided to say, oh, who's opening the second hour? CM Punk. Huh. That's neat. That's cute. Fine, but it's not you. So, you know, it's kind of setting those in motion. So as Punk's giving his little basic speech and all that, out comes LA Knight. They're both basically just want the world title. And I love the jabs that they were both doing towards each other, because it's exactly what I want between a Punk and LA Knight segment like this. And of course, Jay comes out. He kind of states his case of going after the world title. And after a bit, Jay just kicks LA Knight right in the face, and him and Punk are about to get into it, but Jimmy's at least out there to hold him off at least a little bit until getting shoved, and then Jay eats a punch, Punk eats a super kick, and hey, everybody, we still need a tag team main event. Why not have the Usos face off against Punk and LA Knight? What were your thoughts about this? Because like, I think the strongest point for me with this was the Punk LA Knight segment, because again, those two were cooking on the mic.
Yeah, that would probably have to be the thing that mattered to me the most. Like when we talk about like the next progression of our opening segment here tonight on the show, because when CM Punk and LA Knight were in the ring together, I was really engaged with that when they had their little back and forth talking about the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk saying he needs to get back in line, making comments about LA Knight not being a World Heavyweight Champion, you know, things along the lines of that. So I really did like the exchange of words between the both of them. I thought they did very well, and I'm hoping in the near future, if there ever is a program between them, either it's a regular feud or a title is on the line and one of them's champion, I would love to revisit this one day, because that was one of the things I was looking forward to the most when LA Knight got on Monday Night Raw, was this new environment, new faces for him to bump heads with, and CM Punk was definitely on the top of that list. Like, I still remember a couple months ago when they met in the back and they didn't really interact as much, but then we eventually see this now, so that's something I'm really looking forward to with the both of them in the future. The whole thing with Jay coming out and everything, pretty much trying to insert his dominance, showing why he needs the World Heavyweight Championship and how he never got his rematch and everything after he lost the title and all of that. I didn't really get that hooked into it that much, because you could sort of tell, like, when you were watching this segment of Punk and LA Knight, it kind of just flowed a little bit better. It made a lot of sense on how things are being built up. And then when you inserted Jay, just because you knew what happened earlier was going to pop up here because of the comments that Roman made backstage about why he should be the center of attention instead of this other guy out there with the microphone and talking to the audience and everything, I couldn't get into it that much, if I'm being perfectly honest, because, like, I get the whole thing with Jay trying to evolve his character, which I know a lot of people have been saying they've been wanting to see. I've even said that myself, maybe have a little more edge on Jay, not like super edge, but like a little bit more edge where you can kind of get a little bit more out of him, because, like, when he was having the conversation in the ring with CM Punk and LA Knight, the only thing that really needs to stop, but I'm just gonna say it as it is, especially if we are evolving Jey Uso's character to have that little more edge, so you can take him more seriously in his promos, especially if you're looking at who his character is right now when it comes to this current mindset, you kind of have to drop the yeeting thing. Like, not entirely, but it's like after he's cutting a promo, you don't have to keep doing it. You don't have to see. This is one of my biggest gripes with Jay sometimes. I love the guy. I think he's very charismatic, and I'm not against him winning the Royal Rumble at all this year. I thought he deserved it. But the whole thing where he spaces between words when he's cutting promos and stuff like that, there's yeet after yeet, or all these different kinds of comments from the crowd and everything. I feel like we need to put that to a halt at times, and Jay has done that in the past when he's been trying to have a serious conversation. He's trying to give hand signals to the crowd to like settle it down, but it's like you're looking at it, it's just kind of funny to look at in your head, because it's like you're seeing in front of you what's going on with Jay, how Roman's trying to get in Jay's head to build him to be this different person, trying to just put your foot down in certain situations so you can get ahead of the game. Like how he made a mark towards Jimmy, saying, he's becoming more like me when he became the World Heavyweight Championship and everything. Yep. He got more ahead because of me and everything. If we're looking at that kind of character in front of the television or tablet, wherever the case may be, you're looking at this character change with Jay, and then you mix the whole yeeting thing in there. It just doesn't really complement the whole character that well when you have that going on. If you want to do that afterwards or everything, or you kind of want to switch it up on how do you utilize that within Jay's character itself, that's fine. But that's the part of me that kind of took me out of this segment thing, because it's like the spacing between words, or it just seems very robotic in a way, almost like he's reading off a teleprompter. And
well, it's very formulaic, you know, and if you know anything about our discussions, ladies and gentlemen, you know that formulas kind of suck sometimes. I think one good thing with Jay losing the yeet at one point, because it's bound to happen eventually, and with that turning into like the heel turn, the yeeting is going to be the thing that brings him back eventually. So like as soon as we get rid of it, it's going to be in the anticipation of, okay, when can we start yeeting again? And that's really going to get the crowd going with like, okay, like just chomping at the bit for like that return of just being able to be like this during his moves and all that, not moves, his entrance and all that, and even it being incorporated into certain promos and all that. And I won't say certain promos because like the pausing in the middle right there, it works for some things, but yeah, it's not working right now because like you can tell Jay's kind of like struggling to evolve from that, at least right now, because he really wants to play up onto the crowd because again, like you said, he's a very charismatic guy, but you know, he's trying to, you know, just kind of train himself again to not be at that cadence when cutting a promo, so that way the audience doesn't do all that. So it's probably tough on him to do that. So, but yeah, that is a complaint I would agree with as well, just because, yeah, just got to work on the cadence, man. That's really it with it. But yeah, Jay at least had a point. You know, he had a point to prove and all that tonight, which I'm glad he did. And I'm glad too, like, he's not really holding himself back. Cause like, you know, I mean, obviously a lot of these promo segments do end up devolving into an attack of some sort and all that. But Jay really striking first speaks numbers too. And it just kind of ties in more with what Roman told Jimmy. And I'm glad you pointed that out too. The moment Jay won that world title, he became more like Roman and less like Jay and Jimmy. There I go, mixing the two up again, because that's the thing. Jimmy, as a singles competitor, hasn't gotten any success, not even in the mid card, let alone the top of the card. But Jay has. So Jay's reached that upper echelon. So that's now like where the story is. So now we've kind of, in a way, we're also kind of building Jimmy up to get that first title, because who knows who we could take that from. Hell, it could be taken from Jay. We could have that brother versus brother match again, and Jimmy takes a title from Jay right there, and that's his first solo title and all that. Like, there's a lot you could really do here, but what they're doing right now with all this Bloodline stuff is intriguing again, because now we're starting to have like, and it sucks kind of saying this in a way, but now you kind of have your main characters back in WWE. Like, you have your Codys and your Seths and all that, but like really the Bloodline is what made the past 5 years of WWE. And to actually have some sort of focus on them again has people more locked in now. You have this through line, this narrative now that you can actually like tell, you know, and there are other stories right now going on that are very intriguing and really do cut deep a little bit. But yeah, there's just something about the Bloodline, man, that like just it gets you wanting to talk more about it. And that's just from the history that they built with the group and everything. But what do you think now? Just like, because I know we keep going back to this whole idea of like when Jimmy cost Jay back at SummerSlam. I mean, is this the route that you thought not Jim? I keep mixing them up again. Is this the route that you thought Jay would actually go down after winning the world title?
I didn't really think about it, if I'm being 100% honest with you, because when I saw Jay win the title, I was like, okay, he got his moment, you know, he busted his ass off to get where he needed to be. It didn't really hit me until we started talking about it recently when Roman came back, and then he started having that conversation with Jay, and then it just hit me in the back of the head again, and I'm like, wait, I remember what happened a few years ago when it comes to Jimmy's warning. So if I'm being completely honest, I completely forgot about it at that point. But once Roman came to the picture again, everything started clicking, and I'm like, you know what? It kind of makes sense that things are going down this direction now, because it's almost like Jimmy was speaking of like some future prophecy where if Jay were to win the World Heavyweight Championship, then this would happen. And we're seeing exactly everything that he was saying a couple of years ago happening right in front of our eyes. You're not seeing Jay going out there dancing, doing the theme song again, you know, basically acting charismatic as he was before. He got into this different mood shift. Like, you just see him as like a completely different person, where it's like He's trying to listen to Roman. He's trying to put his foot down. He's trying to really get ahead of the game so he's able to help out himself. Because, I mean, I could get it from that perspective, because when you are a superstar in WWE and you want to advance, you have to do what you need to do in order to get ahead. I mean, you could say that a lot when it comes to a lot of different characters within WWE, especially when it comes to what we're about to talk about next, when it comes to what's going on with Seth and all that. So it's like, what's going on with Jay right now? I mean, it's just very intriguing to see exactly like what's the end goal here, when the heel turn is going to happen, and how are things going to work with Jimmy and Jay. Because the interesting thing about this is that now you're going to have Jay as the heel and Jimmy as the face, because before it was reversed. It was Jimmy as the heel and Jay as the face, where Jimmy was screwing him over, trying to stop him from getting ahead. Now it's the exact opposite, where it's like, you know, Jay doesn't really want his brother's help. And like Roman said here tonight, sometimes when he gets into his own shit, just leave him alone and let him do what he needs to do in order to get out of it. So I never expected it until as of recent, and I think it's probably one of the parts of Raw that I can't say I am interested to see how it develops throughout the whatever episodes we get or whatever PLEs we get, if they have a certain involvement in something.
Yeah. Well, especially after tonight, I mean, Jay did kind of yell at Jimmy to be like, hey, now we have to do this tag match because of you. Like, you had to come out there and just kind of ruin everything. And now that they not only lost the match, but Jay was the one to get the pin. Like, he ate that pin. So now there's even just more fuel to the fire that Jay can add towards Jimmy regarding all this. Yeah, and I mean, again, with the match itself, I mean, you know, copy and paste whatever we've said about tag team main event matches in WWE anymore, because that's all they freaking do, pretty much, at least 99% of the time. At least with this one, it ended differently with CM Punk hitting the GTS on Jay, LA Knight doing the blind tag, getting in and taking the credit basically for the win. Big power move on LA Knight's part to be like, yeah, I'm ending this on my terms, the way I want to. Yeah, just like that. So I really like that. I like that little added bit there when it came to this match. But I mean, other than the match itself, that's really all I got to say about the match. I mean, it was all right.
The only other thing I can really say is like the MJF reference from CM Punk. That was a funny little line.
Oh wait, which one was that?
He said something about, I think it was like, I think it was directed at Seth, where he's just like, they all know I'm better than you and you know it.
Oh, I must have blanked that out of my mind then. That's funny. Yeah, because he wasn't really there to like really do much of anything, just saying, hey, you know, I'm coming for the title eventually. I'm still celebrating my win with AJ and all that, and I didn't want to get in between Seth dumbass Rollins and Cody Rhodes, because hey, he respects Cody. Cool, neat, awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens with Jay moving forward, his evolution or downfall, if you will, of his character, which, you know, is always a good thing. You got to fall in order to grow and all that stuff, all that hoopla. Now, when it comes to our Crown Jewel title build up, first of all, didn't get any on the women's side unless it was on the VPN commercial parts, which, you know, I don't really watch all the time. So, you know, nothing for the women's side. I guess we'll get that Friday. But we did get a continuation for the men's side with Cody and Seth Rollins. We got the continuation of the video package that kind of talked about their history. I'm glad. I mean, I wish it would be said on the mic, like in person, face to face. But I'm glad Seth finally acknowledges Cody teaming with Roman last year, and how that basically was just a smack in the face to everyone. You know, I mean, we saw Kevin Owens didn't like it, and he was one of Cody's like biggest backers. And we're finally hearing from Seth like this was even teased like way back then too, because like if I remember, there was like a short like backstage interview with Seth. Somebody had asked him about what he thought about that, and he said not right now, or it was something like that. Basically, he dodged the question. So we finally get to hear from him with this, and I mean, I'm kind of on Seth's side with this. And I mean, I said it last year too with it. It's just like, why would Cody do that to just kind of slap everybody in the face that helped him to win that title and all that? And I get it. I get his side too, where it's just like, oh, everybody deserves a second chance, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, look at what Roman did, man. That's like, that's like freaking Naruto reviving Madara and be like, yeah, you're a cool guy. Well, why don't you team up with me and beat up this big bad ninja dude? And Sasuke's just over there like, the hell, man? What did we go through to get rid of this guy? Like, we had to fight a freaking space alien and seal her away before defeating this guy. Which there's a reason I bring up Naruto and Sasuke, because this whole feud, this feud is really good. This whole build for this match is really, really good, because it's not only just about this crown jewel title thing. It's about who's going to be the face and who's going to be the one to really push this business to the future. And I mean, Cody had, or at least has, his time right now as the number one quarterback, as that leader and all that. But like with Seth, he's not focused on his own legacy. Like, yeah, that's still a thing and all that, but he also keeps pushing this idea of the future, of innovation and all that stuff. And we know Seth is that kind of person. Now, criticisms aside, with how the vision actually is, I mean, Seth's overall message is there. Like, he wants to push the business forward. And I mean, he does have a case for it. When the World Heavyweight title was first made a thing, he was the first champion. He had a damn good reign with that title, had really good matches. He was the focal point of the show. And then he dropped it. And I mean, as good as Damian Priest and Gunther were, they didn't really move many needles. If anything, they kind of got pushed aside with it. So yeah, Seth takes it back. He's going to push everything to new heights, especially with the Bronze on his side. I mean, I'm kind of on Seth with all this when it comes to the build and just how he sees everything. So kind of want to start with the video package, I guess, with you, Drop. How did you enjoy it? How has this like kind of crafted your vision, if you will, of Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes 4?
So when I look at what we got here tonight, when it comes to the build between Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, I would have to say right here, this is probably one of the best builds that they've done this year in terms of good storytelling, because it's kind of similar to what AJ Styles said a little bit later tonight, where he's like, you know what me and John Cena have done. You already know the story there. We don't need to say anything else. I can probably copy and paste that when it comes to Seth and Cody too, because you already know the story between the both of them. So that's what makes it such a great feud, a great match between the both of them, because there's a lot of things that they can cling on to. And when it comes to the video package, like we talked about in our own shows, we were wondering exactly what was Seth's thoughts post WrestleMania. What was Seth's thoughts when they were teaming up against The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, of everything that was going on, saying that he was looking at Cody as somebody who could, slay Roman, because obviously of the history that him and Seth have. And then looking at what happened later in the year kind of almost makes it seem like it's worth it, where it's like, so I helped you win against this guy, your dream came true, you became a world champion, and then later in the year you ended up teaming up with the guy after everything that happened. And then you obviously saw what happened with Cody and Kevin Owens' relationship, like you said, and now you're venturing back to like Cody and Seth Rollins. So I do like how he was able to touch on that, because that was a big piece of the story that needed to be addressed, because you would have to know how he feels about that, considering he's one of the people that went up against Roman during that time when WrestleMania 40 was going on. So I'm glad that was included in the video package itself, because that was needed so we can know exactly, okay, how does Seth feel about this? Because it just adds more weight to the match when it comes to both of them getting in the ring together. And I really like how they've structured these video packages. I think they've done a good job of it last week. They did a good job with it this week, pretty much just giving that extra little information, even though we are familiar with it. Still adding those little pieces in there is really nice to see.
Yeah, and I think what just gets me with it is just how they're using their history together with all this, because again, like, see the way I see Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, these are the shonen rivals in WWE. This is your Goku versus Vegeta, with obviously Seth in the Vegeta role, where it's just like, you know, he's this high class warrior, this guy who like has all the talent, all the charisma, all the know-how to win a fight, to win a match, and all that stuff. Then you have Cody Rhodes, who's more of like the blue collar guy, the guy who had to struggle to get to where he's at, the one who had to train every single day and every single night to get the power that he has, and yet he's still able to topple the guy that's on top, that Prince of all Saiyans and all that. So like, yeah, this is your Goku Vegeta, this is your Naruto versus Sasuke. Trying to think of some other rivals too, just off the top of my head, but like these are not really Deku Bakugo. That's kind of a different dynamic with that. But like, these are the stories that you write for your rivals and all that, and especially when it comes to just how they want their legacy to continue on. One wants it more for himself. The other may also still want him for himself, but is actually trying to build people up along with him, which is good. Now, whatever happens with that, well, I mean, a lot of things can happen on Saturday, and Seth has a lot on his plate. So we see this segment later on in the night. Becky Lynch is kind of crashing out over her loss to Maxxine Dupri, which, don't worry, we'll get to that later on tonight. So she's crashing out the whole time. Seth's been staring at his watch this whole time. Anytime we cut to him backstage, he's just staring at that WrestleMania 40 watch, and he's kind of questioning everything. He's almost in a way kind of doubting himself. Like, he asked Paul Heyman, he's just like, hey, Paul, what happens if I lose to Cody? And Paul, he tries to deflect the question, but Seth's a little too smart for that, Paul. He needs an answer from me. He's just like, no, don't kiss my ass about it. Don't brown nose me. I need to know what happens if I lose to Cody. And it's not just like what happens to everybody. It's like what happens to the Vision, what happens to obviously the company, what happens to you and all that. And I love how Paul Heyman just did not hold back with this. He's just like, yeah, no, you would basically lose everything. You would lose the trust you had, the morale you built. You would lose the Vision. You would almost lose me, because you'll lose everything to this, Seth. And I think that's gonna be where Seth gets desperate. We might get the Brock button push on Saturday. I'm kind of preparing for that myself, because Seth is in desperation mode. He doesn't care how, but he is going to win that match Saturday. And I kind of agree. He kind of needs to win that match on Saturday. But what do you think of this backstage segment? Because I think out of everything tonight, this might have been my segment of the night. Like, this had a lot of just layers to it, from Heyman's answers to to Seth just being so just locked in on Cody Rhodes. But what did you think of the segment?
Yeah, this was probably my favorite part of the night, if I'm being honest, because I say this a lot when it comes to the coverage on my channel, when it comes to the manga that I cover, if it's like Chainsaw Man or whatever the case may be. In order for me to really be hooked on a fight, if it does end up happening, like if there's no other content happening within the story itself, if it's a fight itself, I want to know the message behind it, because if there's a message behind it that has multiple layers, I care for that kind of stuff, because then at that point it's not just a fight, there's actually a bigger message as to why person A and person B are fighting, because they're trying to prove something, and there's like a lot of stuff in there that tells you the whole story about it. And that's probably something I can say about this when it comes to Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, because when you had Seth Rollins go up to Paul Heyman, you know, he wanted straight answers, and I thought that they kept the story like beautifully simple tonight. Like, you had Seth saying that he can't be the best until he beats Cody Rhodes, because we know that Cody Rhodes is the poster boy. He's pretty much who Roman Reigns was before he arrived, and then Cody Rhodes became that person, and now he's the person that's on Minute Lemonade or cereal boxes or whatever the case may be. You get what I'm trying to say. He's pretty much like the person you're always going to be seeing advertised on WWE promotion, because when you see Cody Rhodes, that gets clicks, and they know that they made money with Cody Rhodes because of what they gave, because of what he's giving to the company. And everything that Seth accomplished in WWE means nothing unless he gets that win. And if he doesn't, it's like you said, he ends up losing the respect of the locker room, the Vision group that he made himself, and even Paul Heyman questioning why he decided to go with him to begin with. And that's kind of how you build matches like that, because at this point, it's not really about that ring, if you think about it. Like, whenever...
Oh, no.
Like, whenever that person wins the match, not about the title that they hold for a little bit. It's not about the ring that they get later night. It's about the stake. And people like us care about the stakes, and the stakes that are involved right here are high stakes, because if you look at a loss for Rollins right here, it could really mean a lot of things, because you already look at Seth Rollins. He has a legendary career. He's done a lot within his career that he can be remembered by whenever he decides to hang up the boots. But if you look at everything that he's built up until now, ever since WrestleMania, I mean, it might seem like everything's been pretty mediocre the past couple months if we end up getting to a conclusion like this. If, not saying his career itself, but basically everything we've been seeing from WrestleMania, it kind of seems like, oh, so we got up to this point and, you know, this is here we are. Because, I mean, I would probably be questioning the same thing if I was Bronson Reed or Braun Breaker, where I'm like, okay, you know, this is supposed to be our leader. He just got defeated by the other guy. Do we really need guidance from this person anymore? Do we really need leadership? Why does Paul Heyman need to share his brain with somebody else to really get them ahead of the game? It makes you question a lot of things. So more than anything in the world, really, he needs to win at Crown Jewel, because it's all or nothing at the event itself. And I just thought it was really good on how they handled everything. And even though I love Cody Rhodes, I feel like Seth Rollins needs to win here. It makes a lot of sense. But because if he does win, it would mean more for his group, because then the guys can look at him and be like, okay, you know, now we know we're going to go far in places with this guy leading us. Because if Seth Rollins gets too obsessed with everything that's going on, he's going to just screw himself over, and he might have wanted to beat Cody Rhodes, but he just ends up getting so obsessed with everything that's going on, he ends up screwing himself over. And I can definitely see the Brock thing. Don't get me wrong. I can definitely see that. But there's still that part of me deep down inside, the way that Seth Rollins is talking right now, especially, to me at least, it would just feel so much different if he actually did do it without outside interference, just because of the kind of mindset that he has right now. That's the thing I feel.
At the least, the Brawns are going to get involved. At at the least, I think.
Cody did say in the video package, bring everybody. So,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, because I'm sure Cody will have backup too, and I think that's the thing. I'm glad you brought up the whole stakes thing, because it's like, when you think about the stakes, I mean, what are the stakes really? Like, really, the outside part of it is, getting the crown jewel title and the crown jewel ring and all that, having those bragging rights, being like, I'm the undisputed champion around these parts. That's basically what these matches are for crown jewel. But and this is why I love like tournament style settings for like an arc or something, let's say, because this kind of has that written in there, because that's what they do with these tournament arcs, is like they'll put personal beefs in there, and that kind of fuels the tournament right there. And that's that personal beef between Seth and Cody, because now they have more of a reason to fight each other. Now we have that personal beef with it. It just enhances the match so much more. And this is what we talk about when we say we want like character driven story writing in our WWE product, and even just in pro wrestling in general, because like when you have these two characters like this that have been built up as they have been and have the history that they do, you can have these like kind of BS matches where it's like, oh yeah, bragging rights to and everybody's all happy-go-lucky that we're getting an exhibition. But for the competitors, this means everything to them. And that's how you sell your product. Like, it sucks because like we get segments like this tonight and like moments like this tonight, and I wish they could really put some of that love in other parts of the product, because if they did, they would have a much different product in 2025 than they've ever had in any other year. But that just would spread a whole other tangent of conversation when it comes to WWE and all that. I'd say more, but I kind of want to save that talk for Thursday, because I really want to talk more about the build then, because that way we can kind of put everything together and all that. And plus I know Vash will be done with helping out The Rock with his latest movie endeavors and all that, so we can have his input as well and kind of play upon a third brain with all that. But yeah, just overall great stuff coming from just that segment alone, and which is crazy because we still have a whole other like hour and a half ish to talk about Raw tonight, or maybe an hour. I don't know. We'll see. When we do like the time breakdowns, or when people do the time breakdowns. But of course, we're going to talk about our mid-card stories now. We have some other matches to kind of build to when it comes to Crown Jewel and the weekly product of WWE. We're going to start, of course, with this Kabuki Warriors like drama that's going on. Everything that goes with like Iyo Sky, Kairi Sane, Asuka. No Rhea Ripley tonight. I don't know if she's already like in Australia with family, like visiting or anything. I know she had responded to what happened tonight on Twitter. But basically, we get Iyo Sky taking on Kairi Sane tonight. Match is made because Asuka wants to kind of teach Iyo a little bit of a lesson before Crown Jewel. So she goes to Adam Pearce and just yells at him to make a match official between Kairi and Iyo, which Kairi doesn't want to do. But hey, when you're dealing with Yakuza boss Asuka, you do what Yakuza boss Asuka wants you to do. And I mean, the match itself is great. I mean, it's Iyo and Kairi. They know each other. They're really good in the ring. They know how to tell good in-ring story, where it's like Kairi, she's still, obviously she's taking part in the wrestling match, but there's part of her that does still feel very conflicted here with facing off against Iyo. And Kairi does end up pulling out the win thanks to Asuka helping her, like kind of pulling her arms and like eating that leverage a little bit on Iyo. And of course, they have to have a post-match beatdown on Iyo and all that. Gotta wear her down just a little bit more before Perth and all that. But again, I thought the match was fine. I thought the segment before with Asuka like yelling at Adam Pearce to make the match official, I thought that was pretty fun. And of course, we got a video package having Io's mindset on everything going into Perth. But Job, what did you think of the match, the segments we had, how the build tonight has added to this feud? What did you think about it all?
So I really like the match between the both of them. I thought they did a really good job tonight because they're both great wrestlers. The only thing I will say about this is I really want to see more love towards Kairi Sane because we get that with Iyo, we get that with Asuka. I want to see that with Kairi too because I've seen what Kairi was able to do when she was in Stardom and she was doing her own thing in Japan. I really want that to translate to the main roster because she was doing really good in NXT too when she had her fair share over there. I really want to see that translated a little bit more because she has a perfect finisher. I mean, I really love her elbow drop. I think it's beautiful. She always executes it very well. I just want to see her get her appreciation too. I don't want her being looked as like a background character because she's really not. She's really not a background character. So I'm hoping maybe sometime in the future she gets that sort of opportunity. Maybe for, let's say, the IC title on Monday Night Raw would be nice. It's just me expressing that I just want some more Kairi Sane appreciation. But like we saw within the match itself, obviously the story here was Iyo and Kairi still feel a certain way about each other because you saw how the match started off. It's mainly like an Iyo and Asuka thing. That's why she attacked her, which I get it because Asuka's, starting a lot of shit right now. So I get why Iyo wanted to go after Asuka and do what she needed to do. But when it comes to her and Kairi, yeah, Kairi is also participating with all of the things that Asuka is doing, basically being manipulated to do this and that because she's afraid to retaliate because she doesn't really know what to do. So that's why she's following Asuka's orders. But you see how it was a little rough for Kairi to really do certain things until they started getting the match going, and then Asuka got her involvement and she ended up holding on to Kairi, so she was able to execute that cheap win that she got over there, and then she was able to escape the ring. So from that perspective, yeah, they got to get a couple reps in. They had to do some heelish things to really get under Iyo's skin. I'm starting to feel that maybe Rhea is in Australia because I feel like since she does have family down there, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest she got a little head start or whatever. So I guess that's maybe a reason why, or maybe they didn't have her show up tonight, but I feel like they probably would have before that other attack occurred. She probably would have came out. So I'm starting to go on I'm starting to feel what you said earlier about her possibly being there because that would be the perfect spot for her to show up.
Yeah, it was just weird how like they were setting up for the double team move, and I'm like, oh, here comes Rhea. She's gonna come out, right? This is my brutality, right? Right?
Yeah.
No, nothing. Oh, okay. Well, bye, Iyo.
And I thought that video package of Iyo was really good, understanding her mindset, understanding how she feels. Yes, she's heard about everything that happened, which is a normal mindset to have because we know the whole story here, how they both came up together, they helped each other out. And I like how she was being honest with herself, saying, I didn't become champion because of you. I didn't set these goals and achieve them because of you. I did all of these on my own. So I don't want you taking credit for everything that I was capable of doing myself, which I can appreciate because not only is she, acknowledging what Rhea was right about to begin with when it came to how Asuka was treating her and just being manipulative, because we even questioned it about our show where we were talking about how Asuka was reacting towards Iyo. I remember all three of us talking about this, and we were like, if you have like family or friends or whatever, that certain person in your family wouldn't like manipulate you and say, you can't hang out with so-and-so, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, that's not normal behavior. I could sort of get the Rhea thing to an extent, but that's more of an Asuka issue because she has her own personal things with her. But it's like with Rhea, with Nikki Bella or whoever ends up walking in front of Iyo. Like, whenever she sees somebody, she just tries to yank her ear and pull her away. Like, that's not normal behavior. So I liked how she acknowledged Asuka's faults, and she pretty much just put her foot down so Asuka can understand how Iyo feels. So I really do like that mindset that she had during that video package. And I also, in general, just really like how they do the video packages for the ladies, because this is something that we talked about before last week when it comes to, cutting promos and how to do them properly and how to, figure out how you want to structure certain things in your show. When it comes to things like this should be a common trend moving forward. So you have the captions on the screen, you can understand what they're saying, because the thing about Asuka, she, like with Iyo, she's more comfortable in her own language. Like, yes, she can speak English, she knows English, she can say certain things and everything, but when she says a few words in English and she says more in Japanese, the way that video package was being built tonight, it hit really hard. Like, it hit hard. We could understand where she's coming from and everything, and I feel like that should be a main thing going forward.
It really should. I mean, and they've done it plenty of times in the past.
Yeah.
And I think we even made a comment too, like a couple weeks ago, with having Iyo kind of do more of these segments, like these backstage promos like this. That way she can, go back and forth between her native tongue and English and all that. And yeah, we get a very effective promo from her when we get to do that in the style that they did here. So yeah, I was glad we got some of Iyo stuff there. And I mean, I agree with you. More Kairi Sane. I mean, I do believe part of this story is to kind of build her up too, because I mean, Asuka did smack the crap out of her.
That is true.
Before that match, like, ooh, that was it was so big that even Hang 'Em High had to do Sonic rings for it.
And you never know, that could very well happen this weekend. Maybe they want to extend it a little bit longer. We don't know, but it's definitely coming soon, because there's only so much that poor girl could go through before she just really puts her foot down, or she just gets too frustrated and she can't really handle it anymore inside of her head, where she ends up slapping her back or pushing her away or doing something, because the way that Asuka's acting right now, she can't be getting away with it forever. I mean, she already lost Iyo. Obviously, the reasons why it happened made sense, and you want this one person to be alongside you, but it doesn't really make sense, because it's like you have a different mindset than her. So it's just manipulation, really. I mean, we read certain books, read manga or movies, TV shows, whatever. We've seen these kind of relationships being displayed, and we already know the end result of them. So yeah, so it just kind of it sucks for the characters involved having to deal with all that, but hey, we'll see how everything is resolved on Saturday, or at least where the story goes on Saturday and all that. So moving right along to everything going on, the Judgment Day have a bunch of things going on tonight, mainly just two segments. Two matches were made for tonight. One of them was, promoted before tonight. The other was made on the night. So Lyra Valkyria took on Roxanne Perez, because, hey, we just got to keep these four ladies in the same vortex facing off against each other. And, of course, Lyra needs Bayley's help to kind of even the odds, since Raquel Rodriguez is out there. And, I mean, the match is fine. I thought, Roxanne does win after a few distractions from Raquel, which leads to Roxanne hitting a Pop Rocks after a very nasty tornado DDT outside the ring, which, all right, pretty good there. All right. Love to see that, Roxanne. Glad Roxanne got a win here, beating Lyra in this way. And plus, Lyra doesn't look too weak losing like this, because again, she was kind of distracted with Raquel booting Bayley in the face and all that. But after the match happens, Bayley goes into the ring. She's like telling Lyra, hey, no, we need to go get them. And I mean, Lyra's actually following Bayley in all this. Like, she's actually kind of listening to her. They go into the back. They both beat up on Roxanne and Raquel, kind of get a little bit of vengeance against them.
enough to where they're going to have a tag team match next week against each other, which should be pretty good and all that. I'm wondering now where this is going, because Lyra's she's kind of feeding into this Bailey delusion that she's in. Which, okay, fine, cool, whatever. But I don't know if this is going to lead to like Lyra and Bailey actually being a team, or the other obvious answer, Bailey eventually turning on not Asuka, Bailey turning on Lyra, and we actually getting a full-blown program with the two, with split personality Bailey and all that. Where do you think it might go? Do you think we might go the odd couple route where Lyra kind of deals with a multi what's the word I'm looking for? Basically a messed up Bailey, I guess. Or, do we have Bailey actually go after Lyra and start that program in full now?
I honestly don't know, because I'm starting to think from the mindset of Bailey, where depending how Bailey feels depends on the direction of the story, whichever way it goes down, because at one point they could be a team, they could work alongside each other, maybe they can build themselves up so they can get a shot at the tag title or something along the lines of that, or it could go down a different direction where it's like maybe it leads to another feud between Lyra and Bailey, and they go at it for one another. But a part of me doesn't really want to see that, because we've seen it before, and I don't really know what the end goal is with this whole thing with Bailey. Like, it's really hard for me to like understand what's truly going on here. Like, I get the whole split personality thing, like she's trying to find out who she truly is inside. That's why you have her going back and forth with herself. But
yeah,
I'm more on the fence where I don't know what it's gonna do for Lyra. Is it gonna benefit Lyra in some way? Is it just extra filler until they know what they really want to do with it and everything? Like, I really don't know. It's just so hard for me to tell, because when I saw both of them go backstage after the match itself, which, like you said, the match was fine. Roxanne got her win, which obviously keep that up. I'm not sure why she's being presented the way she is, considering she's a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, and she was also getting a lot of love on that brand. So I kind of want that translated over here. Hopefully you can get to that soon. Doesn't really make sense why they structure things that way sometimes, but that's besides the point. But it's like, when they went to go attack them backstage, and then we obviously saw that a tag match is being set up next week where it's Lyra and Bailey teaming up against Roxanne Perez in Judgment Day. So it's like, I don't know, part of me was thinking, you don't think Bailey is gonna like get into Lyra's head where she's gonna start acting that way too, do you? Or she's gonna start like, or I don't know if this is like leading to some sort of heel turn, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, ideally I would not want Lyra to go down this route, or the crazy Bailey route right now.
No,
but I see, that's why I posed the question about them like kind of being an odd couple tag team.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. Lyra's dealt with crazy before. Just look at Tatum Paxley down in NXT.
Yeah.
Like she's at least worked with crazy before, so it's just like, okay, she can maybe get around the whole Bailey thing, especially when Bailey kirks out a little bit and starts wanting to beat up on Lyra not every moment, but at certain moments of the night and all that. So it could be a thing with that where she just kind of tames Bailey a little bit, or like, again, it could just go down the route of, okay, start the program, have crazy Bailey against Lyra. And I mean, at that point, like, I think at the end of the day, I'm thinking, okay, who does this benefit? Does this benefit Bailey more or Lyra more? Because Lyra's beaten Bailey already.
Yeah, she's beaten her.
So it's just like, so it's just like, why do we need this then to build up Lyra?
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't know where the end goal would be. And I think that's kind of what takes me away from fully engaging in the story.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, where's this leading towards? And it's not in the good, like, intriguing where I'm just like, oh, where could this go? Where's the mystery and all this? It's literally just like, okay, I can't even think of an end goal, because the way we get to any end goal, it seems like a very rocky road. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm still gonna pay attention to it as much as I can, because I like Lyra, I like Bailey, I like Raquel and Roxanne. But I don't know, it's just I need to see where this might lead to, and then maybe I'll have a bit more to like actually kind of focus and pinpoint on, because it is very interesting, at least from Bailey's perspective, because yeah, she's gone through these different mind shifts, if you will, from being the hugger to destroying those Bailey buddies and becoming a role model, to like forming her group, her own faction, being a leader of that faction, and inevitably leaving or getting kicked out of that faction and having to basically scrap your way up from the bottom to the top again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I want to know what the end goal is, I guess, is the thing, and who this is supposed to benefit.
Yeah, I probably have to say the same thing. That's why I'm like so torn, because it's like it's so like, because even when I see them interact on television, it's just so hard for me to place like, okay, is she good Bailey tonight? Is she bad Bailey tonight? If she goes out with her, is she going to be good Bailey? Is she going to be bad Bailey? Because it's like the way that you look at how things were before, like Lyra should know ahead of time how she is. So it's like her walking out with her, she should be cautious about everything that's been going on ever since Bailey just had like this different mindset where she's been showing different parts of herself and everything. So I'm just, maybe next week we get like some sort of clear direction, and I'll say that lightly, considering that they're both tagging up with one another against Roxanne and Raquel. And even with them too, like outside of like Bailey and Lyra, like I want to know like how is this benefiting them as well, because we just see them having match after match with them. Like how what does this do with them? All it is to them is just getting another W under their belt. It doesn't really do anything to their character in terms of the next progression of Roxanne and the next progression of Raquel. It's mainly just a Lyra and Bailey thing with them, and they're just happen to be involved. So even I question what's going on with them too.
Yeah, because and again, it makes me go back to that earlier question: who does this benefit?
Yeah,
You know, like if I knew who this benefited, I'd have a better, clear answer for a lot of this. But as of right now, just like I don't know. I don't know, man. But at least matches have been good. Like I'll say that at least the matches, like the match quality itself, has been good. Because again, Raquel, she might be most improved this year, just off of that Kevin Nash comment alone, because that seemed to really do wonders just for her in-ring work during all this. And Roxanne, I mean, she's finally getting some W's under her belt, which good. She deserves some. Not saying she has to win everything, but you know, a big win here and there like this is good in my books. And again, it gives Lyra more stuff to do. She's been on TV more, not as IC champion, than she was when she was IC champion. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like she's done a lot more without that title. And of course, Bailey. I mean, it's Bailey. Like she's getting a chance now to kind of work on some acting chops. Cool, neat. That's great and all that. Just continue to improve, ladies. That's all I ask. And speaking of improvement, speaking of tag teams, we get a 6-man tag team match tonight, mainly made because hey, Dom and the boys were making fun of AJ backstage. Apparently, him and Dragon Lee are going to be facing off against JD and Finn next week for the tag titles. So cool, great. I'm sure the match is going to be good. Maybe take the titles off of them, because I'd rather a makeshift team of AJ Styles and Dragon Lee have them rather than Judgment Day right now. So please, boys, take him off of there. But hey, we got to find a partner for the 6-man tag. And of course, it's going to be Penta, who is also gunning for the IC title. And I mean, nothing much to say about the match itself. Rusev does come out to kind of interfere and chase off Dominic Mysterio, so that was cool. But the faces get the win over the Judgment Day. Styles hits his Styles Clash on JD for the win. 1, 2, 3. After the match, that's when he gets on the mic, says the message that drop-in message earlier, saying, hey, you know, you don't need no fancy video package. You don't need no promos. You guys know the history. You guys know what's at stake. We're going to put on a clinic and leave it all in that ring right there. I feel like that promo segment alone, as short as it was very good. And it did, I think, for me, a good job of selling the match. Because that's the thing. This is one of those instances where you can just use the history, I think. And yeah, we can have our good video packages and all that. And would it be good for them to be on the mic against each other? Obviously, yes. But this is one of those instances where it's just like, you know what? We know the caliber they both can go at, especially AJ. John's been showing out ever since SummerSlam and all that. Let him go at it. Give him like 25, 30 minutes to go at it, and you'll get a really good match on Saturday that I'm also looking forward to with it. But drop any comments on the 6-man tag tonight, and I guess AJ's words towards John, and I guess also this whole idea of AJ and Dragon Lee going for the tag titles now.
So I mean, there really wasn't much in the match, to me, honestly. Like, all I really cared about tonight when I saw AJ was just those few words that he said to build up that match with him and John. Like, when it comes to AJ Styles, like, that's the thing that I'm looking forward to the most this weekend, is seeing what kind of match him and John Cena put on together. So I'm really glad everything came together, so we're actually getting that match. When it comes to, like, the Judgment Day against AJ Styles, Dragon Lee, and Penta, I mean, it was what it was, and I'm just ready to move on from it. And then if if AJ Styles and Dragon Lee want to go for the tag titles, I mean, cool. At least maybe that gives new champions that would actually defend the titles and actually do something with them, because again, they're just props or little Halloween costumes that they're just walking around with those things everywhere they go. So that's all there really was to it, to me, really. Like, and this is one of the things that I will say that felt a little odd, the way that this match was placed, because we talked about it before we started our show, where this match didn't end until like 10:20ish or whatever the case may be. Like, it was really odd the way that this was coming out. Like, this was something I thought might have happened maybe at like 9:45 or something along the lines of that, where we would get this match, but it actually ended up going on a little bit later. So that was like another thing I noticed. Like, some of the pacing in the show itself, at least when it comes to the later half, was oddly placed.
Yeah, I don't know who, like, if anybody went overtime or what. Like, nothing, I guess, really felt like it went overtime, if that makes sense. Maybe one thing that we'll talk about here soon, but yeah, nothing really felt like it went overtime. So it's just like, it was weird when we got to like 10 o'clock and it's like, all right, we're doing the 6-man tag match now. It's just like, oh, okay, you have a commercial break in the middle. Okay, that's odd when we know we have a main event and this isn't the main event. What's going on here? And then I don't know. So like, I feel your pain when it comes to that aspect of it. But I mean, hey, tag champs lost tonight. Hopefully they lose next week and drop those titles, because again, the Raw tag team division is cooked. It has nobody and nothing to really stand on. So good job there, guys.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, not much more to say on that. I mean, Judgment Day really didn't do too much tonight, you know, which, okay, cool, neat. But speaking of not doing too much tonight, Becky Lynch took on Maxxine Dupri. You know what? I'll say this. Maxine at least has been looking good. She's been improving in the ring. I'll say that much. She moves around a lot better in that ring. I'll say that. I did not give a crap about this match though. Like the whole time, like this was the beginning of me just kind of zoning out with Raw. I'm just like, I'm literally laying on my bed watching it on my phone on Netflix. I'm just like, all right, let me just scroll on my phone for a bit while I have it on. So I at least like had it on, and I was watching it still a little bit, but just like my mind itself was just like, I don't care about this at all. Like, and you would think, oh, this could be the catalyst for AJ Lee coming back and doing something for Becky. You know, if AJ was there and she was like yelling at Becky while she was outside the ring, I'd probably take that count out more than this. This one was just Becky just being dumb. I'm just like, I don't like dumb Becky, because dumb Becky is, with lack of better words, dumb Becky's just stupid. Like I hate characters like that just they just play to the audience for no reason at all. Like literally no reason, and then you just get yourself counted out. And those last 3 counts, I mean, come on, man. You were just like 8, 9, 10. It's just like you barely gave her a chance to get in there. But okay, fine, cool, whatever. Maybe that's just the ref's version of getting back at Becky. I don't know. Did you feel anything for this match?
No, I mean, this match felt like it went on for like way too long. And I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to give Maxine some reps here, which I'll agree with you. She has been improving, so I can acknowledge that. But the match, you could still get the same delivery, like the same message that you wanted to get with Maxine. But the match didn't have to go that long. Like, it felt like it went on for like a good 10 or so minutes, or possibly 12. I don't know on the top of my head. I don't have Cage Match up right now.
I know it had a commercial break at least. So there's at least that.
It just felt to me
that's
at
our
least.
gauge.
Yeah, to me at least, it felt like it dragged on a little bit. Like, I didn't expect this match to go as long as it did. And the only thing that really throws me off here is I get why the match is set up because Becky hit her last week and everything. But my main issue with Becky right now is, at least with Seth, he's level-headed to a degree where he's focused on Cody Rhodes right now, because that's obviously who he's feuding with now at the moment. I thought they would have been building something between her and AJ Lee ever since AJ pinned her at WrestlePalooza. So it doesn't really make any sense that Becky's just been a background character. She's just been venting out frustration or just talking about something in the background as Seth is just looking at his watch for the past couple times that we've seen her. Like, if I were her, I would be like, oh, you know, she came back, she got a win on me. Like, I'd be going out her, trying to call her out, trying to get her attention and everything. And that's typically a thing that Becky does. And she even mentioned it before in the back. So it's like, why aren't we building to that? Like, you brought up the whole thing and how she got a win on you in the back and everything. Why aren't we building to that? Like, what's going on with that? Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, I get that maybe they want to use AJ Lee for like some special moments here and there and everything, but it's like, I thought this would have been a match on the card a lot, and we're not the only ones thinking. A lot of other people in the community were thinking, oh, I thought this would have been on the card. I thought we would have gotten some build up with this, because this was such an easy route to build up to moving forward when it comes to the next chapter between them. Like, sure, Seth can take a little break, and even Punk acknowledged earlier, you know, he didn't want to poke his nose, and Cody's missed this because what was going on, which makes sense given what the match is and everything. But that doesn't mean Becky had to keep her nose out of whatever AJ Lee was doing. So that it just kind of threw me off, because I'm like, as much as we say right here that yeah, Maxine had her moment here. She was able to, have the best match of her career so far with Becky Lynch, given
Yeah.
on what it did. Didn't need to go too long. The count out was really cheesy, especially the way that Becky was acting towards the end. And I mean, I hate to say it here though, but they invested so much time on Maxine, and I want to care about Maxine. I could acknowledge the improvements and everything like I did on the show. It's just really hard for me to get behind her.
Yeah.
It's like an
Yeah.
experiment where you spent so much time on, and then after a while people just move on and they want to try out new experiments. They want to pour another liquid into another liquid and see if it explodes or not. I mean, I feel like the Maxine experiments run its course, really.
It kind of has, and yeah, I'm ready to be away from it. I'm ready to move on with life and just kind of be done. I mean, again, it just doesn't move me. Doesn't move me at all. But what does move me is the fact that we've reached the end. We've reached the final thoughts segment of this show, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. Again, I didn't feel as engaged with this episode overall, but I do know that it was at least a good episode. We at least had some good character moments going forward, especially when it comes to like Seth and Cody, the stuff with the bloodline, obviously. A little bit with the Judgment Day, and of course Maxine and Becky doing their thing. Definitely with the Kabukis and Iyo, I thought was pretty good stuff. But yeah, I mean overall, I thought the Monday Night Raw was fine. It did what it needed to do, I guess, which somewhat entertained me tonight, which is all I ever ask for in any form of entertainment that I consume. But Drop, what do you think of Raw overall tonight?
So when it comes to Raw tonight, I thought it was an alright show. Like, I did like a couple things on this show. Like, me and Watkins were engaging in a lot of conversation when it came to what went on with the Bloodline, specifically with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns' involvement. So I would have to say right there, I thought that was a very intriguing part of the show. The strongest part of the show, of course, was the more of the build that we got with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, the video package, the acknowledgement of Roman, basically everything on the line here. It's more about the ring. It's more about who's the top dog in the company. That's pretty much Seth Rollins' mission statement here. If he doesn't beat Cody Rhodes, who is Seth Rollins? Why is Seth Rollins the leader of the vision? Why is Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman? Like, why is Seth Rollins in the position that he's in if he's not representing his team well? So I thought that was really strong storytelling there. I really liked it. I also really liked Iyo's segment as well when it comes to her promo explaining how she feels about Asuka and everything going on. I thought that was very well done on her part when it comes to building to her tag match with Rhea against the Kabuki Warriors this Saturday. And the rest of the show, of like the Judgment Day stuff, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like it's here and there. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. It all depends on the mood, really. It's kind of like you're in the mood for a cheeseburger, got to be in the mood for that cheeseburger. You don't want to have it every time because you're just going to get sick of that taste in your mouth, and you're just going to want to take a break before you want to eat something like that again. And the whole Maxine thing, like I said, this is no hate towards her. I'm glad that she's getting her reps in. I'm glad that she's improving. I'm glad that she got her acknowledgement from the fan base in terms of her delivering a good match of her and Becky. But at the same time, at least to me, unless I feel different in the future, because that's very possible, I just don't really care for the character as much on television, just given the kind of representation she's been getting before in the past. One thing I will say that I'm glad that she didn't do is the worm thing in the match tonight. I will say
like that reverse worm that she does. Yeah.
So if she keeps up what she's doing here, that's good. If that's a thing moving forward, like if this is a serious wrestler with Maxine and she's dropping certain things to become her own character in order for her to stand out, that's a plus in my book. You do not need that worm thing anymore. As long as you take that out, I'll be happy.
Yeah. 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 Because it always does look awkward when she does it. So I'm like, all right, cool, neat, fine, whatever. Thank you for coming and all that. So yeah, I mean that was basically our show tonight. That was our Raw coverage. I'm sure we'll have more to say after everything's kind of sunk in a little bit, and we have our predictions show on Thursday with Grappling with the Week. So we'll probably bring up some stuff there as well, that maybe we didn't think of tonight to kind of bring up and everything. So yeah, we'll leave the conversation for that then. So be sure to tune into that on Thursday around the 8:30 p.m. EST mark. Now, when it comes to coverage this weekend, so SmackDown is in Perth, and so is obviously Ground Jewel and Raw next week. So for those episodes, we're gonna be trying to plan, an earlier show of ours here. So probably around again the 8 p.m. EST. 9 p.m. EST, depending. So stay tuned for those announcements to know when we're going live. But the best way you could do that is to hit that subscribe button. Make sure it says subscribed, past tense and all that, because that means you press the button. That means you're subscribed to us, but also hit those bell icons, those notifications, so that way when we go live, when we upload something, when we upload like a short that has like a conversation piece from these episodes, or maybe a quick reaction to some news or rumors going around and all that. Yeah, be sure, hit those notifications and all that. And be sure to also follow us on social media, because we have tons of social media. All those links are in the description. You have the handles right there on your screen. That's AniMa W3 Studio, the parent company. You got Legend D Vash. You got Drop This Box, Watkins MW, and of course, Weebs of the Ring. That's where you can find us on most of these social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, any of those stuff. That's where you can find us. That's where you can chat with us. But the best way to use that is to use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring, because that's a great way to continue on the conversation. And it's a great way to talk to us and give us some feedback, because hey, we're nothing without you guys tuning into the show, and we love to up our game whenever we can and add just what we can to the community and keep a good, positive conversation going for everybody. But just take this time to thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you enjoyed what we had to say, again, go follow us on social media. Talk to us. We don't bite that hard. It'll be great. You'll be fine. Trust me on that one. And of course, using the hashtag, engage in the conversation. So with all that being said, thank you once again for our production team for putting on this show, making sure everything goes smoothly. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa W3 Studio, so we are using the team for all of that stuff. Thank you once again for joining us, and remember, as always, no stunt greens were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you on Thursday for the Crown Jewel Prediction Special.
You guys have a good night.